Oh, say, can you see the light? What's the problem with shouldn't have turned down those cue cards. Oh.
Welcome back to United States of Australia. I am the Aussie guy, and it's an exciting episode this week. Somebody that all of us have been a fan of for many, many years, and we want to kick straight onto it. And first of all, joining me is my friend and yours, Just Josh. How are you, brother?
Doing good, Ozzy. How are we doing?
Good. Yeah, very excited. Very special guest. Like I say, we all came together on a show called Mallertown. Well, we started this podcast as called Mallertown because we're all fans of the Ben Maller Show and we're all Maller Militia. And this man has been firmly entrenched for many, many years. It is former Fox Sports Radio update anchor, the great Godfather, Eddie Garcia. Thanks for joining us, Eddie.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Good to have you here, Eddie.
Thank you.
And speaking of anchors, Robbie the Mariner fan.
That's a good one.
Hey, the anchor is supposed to be bottom right, man, holding it down.
Now, Eddie, yeah, again, thanks for joining us. And yeah, of course, we know you. We're all been big fans of the Ben Maller Show over the years. And you've spent many, many, many years, a couple of decades, you spent working at Fox Sports Radio as an update anchor, etc. When did you first start with Fox Sports Radio?
It was in October of 2001. It was right before the start of the Diamondbacks-Yankees World Series, which is how I remember it. My dog remembers it too, apparently, very fondly. Yes, that's right. You weren't alive then. Sorry about that. But yeah, it was. I remember that was kind of the first big thing that I remember doing on the radio. So yeah.
Now, how long into it did you get paired up with Ben Maller? Because you guys were together a long time, right?
Yeah, it wasn't for a while. I'm sorry about the dog. It wasn't for a while because when I started off, I was doing part-time. And I think Ben was probably doing weekends.
Yes.
And I remember Ben was an update anchor like myself. He was double dipping. And there's that famous clip of him talking about the Royals having their problems on the road. I'm Ben Maller. And he sounds like he's about 15. So yeah, we knew each other because we were fellow update anchors. You know, there's only a handful of us. But I probably didn't start working full time with him until later. So the years, they fly by. But it was probably maybe about 10 or 12 years, I think, maybe, that we worked together.
Nice.
Unofficially.
So around about the time just before he went to weeknight overnights, then I take it. Yeah, very good. So you were at Fox Sports Radio obviously for what, 23 years. We have a regular segment on this show, and it's a man who spent much less time in radio than yourself, and was also in little old St. Cloud, Minnesota. I think it's the number 200 and something market in the country. Now, you guys were syndicated, right? With particularly with the overnights, like you were all across the country.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many markets we cleared, if it was more than the other shows, because of, you know, a lot of stations obviously don't have overnight programming. I'm guessing though that was probably the case. So it had to be at least over 200 for sure.
Yeah. I think I remember hearing it was over 200 markets that you guys were in. Well, having you on, like I say, I wanted to hear a radio guy's perspective of a guy that calls himself a radio guy. So let's get into it.
Aaron's boring, and April adds nothing. It's gonna be great. We're scripting this morning. Come on. It's time for Movie and the Scrimp. It's time for Movie and the Scrimp. It's gonna be It's gonna be mediocre as fuck. It's time for Movie and the Scrim.
Yes, it is. And Dayla must be excited about the Steel Toe segment because he has gifted 5 United States of Australia memberships. Thank you very much, Dayla.
We're scrimping.
We are scrimping. What's going on here, little Emmy? Hey, guys, I'm elbows deep in roast prep. I can't text too much. I love you. Well, we appreciate it. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Well, do what you're doing, but enjoy the show. So, yeah, Eddie, just a little bit of backstory on this guy. His name's Aaron Imholt, and he's the host of the Steel Toe Morning Show. And he thinks he's a big deal. But in the last 12 months, he got together with another streamer and his wife. They swapped wives. We're doing cocaine.
It's quite the train wreck of
It's quite the story. It's quite the story, Eddie. So they were doing cocaine together. And then basically Aaron's wife left him and stayed with the other couple. And Aaron put this out all publicly, all across many different YouTube streams, gave all the dirty details of what they were up to. The other couple and his ex-wife got arrested for possession of cocaine, are currently going through those charges.
This sounds like Maller militia members.
It could be.
Yeah. It's amazing. He is now up on revenge porn charges because he sent a nude pic of the other guy's wife to someone live on stream. He clearly went through it, did a lot. So he's up on revenge porn charges. His first ex-wife has a harassment restraining order against him, which he violated, and has a 90-day prison sentence hanging over his head. So there's so much going on with this guy. But he thinks in 2024 is going back to radio. So thank you to So Thorough Joe Burrow. I went and grabbed this from his channel. This is from a little while back, but I wanted to get Eddie's perspective as someone who's just found himself out of radio from a very big company.
Yeah.
It was kind of a
okay.
weird day because
No, sorry. Go, Eddie. Go.
No. You go. Let's listen to this.
All right.
I really enjoyed the show we did. We had some technical difficulties with Zoom. Johnny will be back tomorrow. But we did a really good show. Like, it was a really fun show. It went really smooth. But yeah, it was just one of those days where the money wasn't there. We came up like $140 short. And
So this is the other factor, Eddie, about this guy. So he got fired from radio 4 years ago for bullying a woman who got a job that he wanted. And he sent his listeners after and that. So he got fired, or as he said, left. So he goes online. He has a $350 goal that he wants his listeners to pay every single day. And all show, he just begs for that $350 while trying to do a show in between it. So this is him talking about... Okay, Robbie.
It's like if Ben Maller had a show, but it was completely Weed Man oriented, where it was just him pretty much doing 5 minutes of content and 2 hours of trying to get money. So
Eddie, I'll ask you is... you've had the Puck podcast for many years now, and you've also got an LA Kings podcast as well. From your perspective, you're just doing a show, right? And if sponsorships come or people want to buy memberships or whatever, that's kind of the aim.
Correct. Now that I've got some time on my hands, I may be doing some things with our patrons on Patreon, doing like some exclusive content, maybe telling our other listeners, hey, if you want to get in on this, then you need to become a patron or something like that, But yeah, doing 18 years of free shows once a week for 18 years, I think we've, built up enough cachet that I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, you know what? I think I'll help him out. He's given me 18 years or whatever of free entertainment, I guess. So I think more people will be more open to maybe doing something like that rather than, just some guy some douchebag basically begging on the radio for money. So yeah.
No, exactly.
You've more than paid the dues to expect that. And this guy, he's just a toe evangelist, man. He's out there peddling for cash.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do to pay the bills, I guess. But that's I honestly, there's nothing. I worked I was a DJ guy, wacky. Not I don't know. I was never a wacky DJ guy, but when I was in my young years, I was a DJ at a classic rock station and a rock station and whatnot, and so I did that. But I never enjoyed, even as like a listener, I never enjoyed those wacky morning shows. I don't know. Maybe that's hypocritical considering we did a wacky sports show. But
in the Ben Maller show.
Well, I've always sort of described Ben Maller as like Howard Stern of sports talk radio.
I guess so. Well, certainly in. I mean, I didn't listen to a lot of Howard Stern. I certainly know of him. It's impossible not to know of him. But if you're talking about the relationship between like the wacky callers and the host and all that stuff, then definitely, yes, you're definitely correct about that.
It's what drew me to Ben's show. Like, I enjoy Ben's takes on sports, sure, but once that monologue was over and you start taking calls, start reading tweets, get into the drama, it's a lot of fun. And I could see, like we've got a live chat going on right now, and people do like to interact with their audience. Big Dabbler is on right now, and he takes calls. He has a call screener. Like, it's all stuff you can do on the internet now. Eddie, have you thought about that side of things with your podcasts and that? Have you thought about the YouTube live aspect and maybe even going into taking callers and stuff?
I've thought about it. Nothing as far as just me doing my own show. I mean, it's possible, I guess, if I could, make some money out of it. But doing some things, more things now that I have the time on my hands, expanding kind of the show that we're already doing or the shows I'm already doing. I have thought about that in ways that can monetize it, and also just connect better with the listeners. So it's not me begging for money like this guy, and like I said, I think we've kind of built up enough of an audience over the years that they know what we're. I mean, obviously what I would be doing if I did that, it would be to make some money because that's I thinking about looking for a job right now and in this market, and there's been a lot of radio people in the LA market that were also let go at the same time I was let go, so there's a lot of us out there looking for stuff, and obviously there's a limited number of opportunities, but I'm certainly open to all kinds of ideas at this point. So we'll see where it goes. I joked with my wife that maybe I'll be a mailman, or something, like get a real job kind of a thing, like Roberto and the bus driver. But I mean, this is where my talents are, you know what I mean? So it does feel like it's like, hey, this is what you do well. You should try and, do something with that rather than just do something to make money, but we'll see what happens. I'm kind of open.
There's no shame, like you say, you've been doing the Puck podcast a long time and all that, and you've built an audience. There's no shame in going and doing a few days a week at a real job, just to subsidize it a little bit while you try and monetize the podcast. I do, just quickly on because obviously iHeart, like it was big news across the board, and you were unfortunately a part of that, but he's about to go into a proposal for radio. How far and wide did it stretch, that recent cutback at iHeart, which obviously Fox Sports Radio is involved with?
I mean, I can't speak nationally, but locally in LA, it was a lot. As a matter of fact, went to the Ben Maller Ugly Sweater Party recently. This was last weekend. And there was a guy there that I was an acquaintance with, and obviously he's a friend of Ben's who worked in news radio, and he got let go too, and he was much more angry about it than I was, and wanted me to be angry with him, I guess. And I was just kind of like, I'm not gonna be like that. But there's a local news station of some note, KFI, and I guess they fired their entire like on-air staff, like it's everybody that was local is gone. So it was fairly significant here in LA.
I didn't know, just like I thought iHeart was just like the people that own radio, but they also own like entertainment properties and stuff. So I was reading about it after you got fired, and it said they had like 10,000 employees, so they were trying to find redundancies or something. But I was talking to Goatman, who's in the Midwest, apparently they owned a bunch of the like local state radio stations in that area too, and they just completely turned them all off air. Like they'll just go national shows now, but all the local shows just got cut as well.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like how local papers everywhere have died, and now all the local radio stations are kind of dying too. It's sad.
Our local paper is printed in Detroit. That's
Wow.
what I'm about. In Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Molly Bar. Nice job on Little Piggy Dean. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, yeah, the reason I ask about all that, and Robbie, that's a great addition to the discussion of little markets just being wiped out and just going with national shows. Let's continue.
Then I put something on Toe Boys. I'm like, guys, we got our ass kicked 3 times in the last week. That kind of sucks, especially as we're just getting back into the positive. And somebody showed up with $100, and I thought that was really cool of them. So thank you very much. Awesome. I appreciate it. But so then I was kind of bummed after the show, and I just started looking. I'm like, well, let's see what we've got out there in the sales and marketing world. Let's just check it out. Part-time, full-time. I'm just looking because I'm like, look, let's be prepared.
So what he's doing here is saying to his audience, look, I'm looking for a job. Do you want the show to go away? Like, I'm looking for a job. Just trying to grift money out of them. Eddie, have you ever ended a show and thought, that was a great show, people owe me $350 for that?
No, I've never thought that before. Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I'm in this guy's shoes, I guess. So I get it. Being desperate, I suppose, but I don't know. It's just pretty pathetic. As you said, just begging for money. But but good luck to him. I'm like, who's going to hire this guy with all this baggage that he's got? I mean, it's great you're looking for a job, but I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't touch this guy with a 10-foot pole, but
39.5-foot pole.
I mean, geez.
I mean, at this point, are you looking to go back anywhere in radio, or are you kind of like the industry's on its way down? Is there any point?
Well, like I said, I think, with all humility, this is where my talent is. So this, I would like to do something with that. So yeah, if there's an opportunity to go back to radio, I definitely would. If Fox Sports Radio wants me back, I probably would go back. I don't know if that'll happen. It's kind of, a lot of people have mentioned it to me, and I mentioned on the 5th Hour podcast I did with Ben that they even, when they let me go, when they announced, they said, we did bring back Ben, so you never know. And I was like, okay, it's kind of I don't know if they're just saying that to be nice or what, but no, I would get back in it. No, I would definitely get back in it if I had an opportunity.
That is the one thing. That is the one thing that everyone still needs. Jesus Christ. So I did that, and then I think we needed to miss today. I think we needed to take a loss today because it inspired. You know how I told you I've been being a chicken shit about like contacting the broadcasting company about what we've been talking about the last year or two? I got in touch with them today. And I've been too chicken shit to talk to him because of what's been going on lately. And I wrote to him. I got in touch. He's a busy guy.
So just before I go on, he's contacting his old radio station, a little market, little family-owned radio station, and he wants to give him a proposal to going back to radio. Now, I want you to listen to this exchange, and I'd like everyone's opinion of what you would have taken away from the exchange you had with the radio station.
And he gets back to me today, and he says, hey, I'm really sympathetic to what's going on with you. That really sucks, but it sounds like you're getting through it, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes, you're still on our radar. You're still the guy. We're still going to do this. And then he said something I've been hearing from literally everyone in every industry. This makes me so sad, and it actually made me, believe in the election tomorrow. You know how cynical I've been and how shitty I've been about it?
Get to the point.
It actually made me believe in the election. He said, this is the worst year in all of radio I've been in. This is the worst year for the business.
All right. So, Eddie, I'll start with you. you email, let's say you email Fox Sports Radio and say, hey, you guys talked about maybe me coming back, and the reply was, you're still on our radar. This has been the worst year in radio. What would you take that to mean?
I would take that to mean don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
And it's this, kind of especially that you're on our radar. I mean, okay.
That's a good one.
You're on our scout team
I mean,
in case
we see
you. It's like you're the submarine on our radar. We're gonna, that means we might shoot you out of the water. I don't know what that. I mean, whatever. But I don't know. I wouldn't be too encouraged if I was this guy. I mean, I left in good standing. He got fired because he was harassing a coworker. I mean, that guy's toxic.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It was someone at another station. He sicked his audience.
Still,
agree.
Oh, he's toxic.
He's racking up a history of harassment of women. Like his ex-wife has a harassment restraining order against him. He's on revenge porn charges. Like I say, the reason I wanted you to talk about this, like you're the perfect person right now. You've just experienced what's happening with radio. You're living it right now, and this guy's living this pipe dream that he's going to go back to radio and lift ratings or something like that.
No, I mean, as you were talking about, a small market like that, local radio. You're right. I mean, I'm in Los Angeles, so that's the second biggest media market in the country. I don't know where it ranks in the world, but I mean, there's going to be some opportunities here more than there would be there. But no, it's not a great time for radio, that's for sure. With all the options, podcasts, and everything else that's out there, and everything that's so selective and downloadable and on demand, and listen to what you want. So it's not a great example, but even when I was working in radio, I didn't listen much to the radio. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's a good example, because I mean, when you're not working and you work in it, you really don't want to have that also when you're off. You want to get away from that, So it's kind of like people I know that work in music. They love music, but once they're off work, they don't want to listen to music. They want to listen to sports talk or something like that. They want to do something different. So I don't know if that's a great example of me not really listening to radio, because obviously I got 6 hours of it every Monday through Friday. So I definitely wanted to listen to something else.
But it's also a thing, like, right now we're live on YouTube. There's 27 people watching, and it's this show is uninterrupted until it's finished. So unlike radio where you got to go to commercial breaks and stuff like that, like I know for me personally, I'm listening to YouTube shows all day at work. I've not turned my radio on, well, since I last listened to Ben, but that was actually on my phone anyway. It was through the iHeart app. But like it was, I just kind of got over radio. I feel like podcasting and YouTube shows and all that are taking over. And there's lots of little different communities, kind of like the Mallow Militia that we're in sort of a semi part of the dabble verse, and there's other different universes. Eddie, what do you think about Ben possibly being able to do this, like being able to take phone calls on a live YouTube show and breaking away from radio? Do you think Ben is the kind of guy that could make a success of that?
Yes. I've never talked to him about something like that, but he look, Ben's definitely a go-getter. I'll just tell a quick story. I don't know if I told this. I can't remember who I told this to, but so we mentioned, I guess before we started recording, you mentioned the guy Tom Looney that we used to work with. I think you mentioned it before we started recording. Anyway, so yes. Tom Looney does the TV show with Ben, and I've known him for a long, long time, even before Fox Sports Radio. We both worked at Fox Sports TV together. But anyway, just the kind of different personalities. So he reached out to me the day after I got let go and was very nice and had some things to say and some advice. And then Ben, reached out to me, and Tom's message was, go on a vacation, take some time off, like decompress, get everything together, blah, blah, blah. And then Ben was like, have you looked yet? Have you been out there looking for anything yet? It was like, I'm like, it's not even been 24 hours. No, I haven't been looking for a job, but that just goes to show you, like, Ben would, like, the next day be looking. And I think there are, I was probably in the middle of that, right? I was not going to look the next day for a job, as I was just dealing with this news and kind of wanted to just, get myself together. And I'm also not going to go on vacation when I have no money coming in. So
you're not going to do one of those I'm going to find myself tours across
we're
the
all not loaded. We're not loaded like Ben. Come on.
Yeah. So there's definitely different ways that different people deal with different things as far as that goes. But no, I think Ben would absolutely could and would definitely, if he got let go. I know I saw him, like I said, at the Ugly Sweater parties. Always said, I'm going to be a greeter at Costco. That's what he's going to do after this. But he probably would the very next day have a show going on YouTube or whatever. That's just Ben, man. He loves his job and he loves to work. And as you guys probably know, I mean, literally they had to tell him to take time off. He didn't ever want to. And part of it was that neurosis he had, that he felt like if he wasn't there, they'd realize, oh, we can do this without him. So, but and that was, I think since he's gotten married, he's kind of loosened up a little bit.
5% maybe.
Yeah, to where he actually will take some days off. He actually might not work a holiday, but still, he still does that a lot. So he's a go-getter. He likes to work. He would definitely be doing something like that, like the very next day or the day after.
For sure. Yeah, just to be for clarification for our Dabbleverse listeners or whatever, we're speaking of Ben Maller, who has done overnights on Fox Sports Radio, weekend overnights for like 14 years, and then weeknight overnights for the last 10 years or so, 11 years. We're all big fans, so we're all just kind of discussing it as if you guys all know what we're talking about. But let's move on to where you're at now, Eddie. We discussed it a little bit before. Have you had much thoughts of like what is the future for Eddie Garcia? Obviously you'll keep your podcast going, but is there any other stuff that you've sort of considered of where you might go?
I'm pretty open. I did work when I first came to LA. I worked, like I said, behind the scenes in television, so I have that experience. I obviously know a ton of people, so that's always good. I haven't really looked for a job necessarily as far as like, I don't know, LinkedIn or whatever, places to look for a job. I've just basically reached out to everyone and let them know, hey, I'm looking. If you hear of anything, if you know of anything, please let me know, that kind of thing. And I've gotten some feedback that I'll kind of follow up on. But I do know some people on the TV side that I haven't really checked in with yet. I probably will do that. So, if I can, obviously, if I can work in some way in sports, that would be the most appealing thing for me. If I can do something in broadcasting, even if it's not sports, that would also be appealing. And if I have to do some sort of a real job, then I guess I'll do that too. But we'll see.
I think you'd be a great with voiceover work. You've obviously always been great as an update anchor. Very smooth, very clean.
I did that for a year, actually. It was the greatest job I ever had.
I remember you telling me that.
It was for Fox Sports International. So Aussie guy. I mean, it was possible you could have seen it, but
possibly have heard your voice.
It was. I did highlights for sports highlights for overseas, like kind of like here's the night in sports in the U.S. I think was it even called Fox Sports Night in America? Anyway, it's like 3 or 4 minutes of me doing highlights, and I didn't even have to write it. Somebody wrote it for me. I just had to read it. Yeah, and it was, and they paid me really well. I did it for a year. It was the greatest job I ever had, and it was unbelievable. And it was the easiest thing. I just would go in there and I'd watch sports, and then they'd hand me a script and send me to a little booth. And then I had a video screen, and it was just basically doing what doing updates, but to video. It was God, it was easy.
I love that they give you. I love that they give you. You get to watch it first, so you can get a feel for it, and then like you get your script, and that's great money for old rope, as they say. that's
I mean, I would have even been like, you sure you don't want me to write this? I mean, I can do this. You don't, no, we'll have somebody do it for you. Okay. All right, fine.
Making the job easy.
Just give me the script and read it, monkey. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So
I'm surprised there's not an opportunity. Well, that someone hasn't given you opportunity at the Kings. You're obviously a huge Kings fan. If you've got your Kings podcast, LA Kings, sorry, hockey. You're a big hockey guy. How's things going on that side of things in terms of the Puck podcast and the LA Kings podcast?
It's doing well. The Locked On people seem to be very happy with the job I'm doing, which is great. There's some things I'm trying to do to expand my audience with that. Some things I've been told I need to do as far as doing these short videos, right? You guys know about the shorts. Like if you're on your phone, you see those a lot. Yep. And to get into that, it's a thing that can really boost your audience. So now that I have time to do it, I'm looking into do that. But no, I mean, I've thought about certainly working with the Kings if possible, because they have their own podcasts. They have guys that do podcasts for them that are employed by the team. And obviously they have their pluses and minuses. But yeah, if something opens up there, that would be awesome. They know of me for sure. But I don't know of anything.
You're on their radar.
I would say I probably am on their radar. Yes. So, no, it's going good. And I am actually very thankful that I still have these two, projects that I do to kind of keep me going in what I do. Yeah. You know what I mean? If I didn't have these two things, I would probably be going crazy right now, because it gives me something to do. It gives me a little bit of money, so there's at least something, and kind of keeps me on my game, I guess. You know what I mean? So I'm very thankful that I have those extra things going on.
Well, I highly recommend that you do some live streams for it on your YouTube channel. I think it does great for your channel. People getting the opportunity to interact with you live and all that. I'd highly recommend you do that. I've been hogging things. Robbie, do you want to have a bit of a chat with Eddie? It's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had a little bit of a chat when I visited the studios a little bit. One of the things that surprised me about Ben was I figured the collars and the whack pack, I didn't realize it carried off air. Like a funny story was when he actually drove me back to the hotel because it was pretty close by afterwards, and he was like muttering to himself, concerned about Weed Man, and that was so surprising to me because I was like, I thought this was like, well, he was doing the show, it'd be something he'd care about, but off the show it's just a bit. And I was wondering, did any callers ever make any connections with you the way they did with Ben, or was it more just on-air stuff?
Yeah, obviously Serious Sean, you guys probably know him.
Yes.
He's a young guy who is a special needs guy, and when he was in high school, his teacher brought him in to hang out with us because he knew how big of a fan of the show he was, and he's a really sweet kid. I guess he's not a kid anymore, but so yeah, he's definitely someone who is. I mean, my wife and I took him to an Angels game last year, just because he loves going to baseball games, and he's got this thing with the trains. I mean, we've all got our things. Yeah. His thing is the trains. Like, he was on a train for 6 days going from like coast to coast, and he was telling me all about it, and he was excited about it, and I'm like thinking to myself, my God, I would want. I mean, what would you have to pay me to do that? To be on a train.
You'd be surprised. I took a train in Seattle when I went to the Mallard meet and greet, I think it was, or maybe I took it when I came back. It's crazy. You see a different part of, even though you're always take those routes, you see a different part of the world. It's hard to explain.
Didn't you get to see a dead body on that one?
Me?
Wasn't that the one where the guy got hit by the train and you guys?
No, that was just a shuttle back from Portland. One of the times I was visiting family. Yeah, no, but it looked like you saw dead bodies when you actually came into the station in Seattle because one of the hangouts was right next to the railroad. So it was like you had this train would take you past all these massive like Paul Allen types. Puget Sound houses, the ones right on the water outside of Seattle. And then when you come into Seattle, you're like, oh, back to civilization. There's just people and tatters everywhere. And Yeah, so you see all types of different life because those trains take you by just these giant houses at times too.
I mean, I've never been on a train except for, like at Disneyland or something like that. So I can't knock it, I suppose, if I've never done it.
6 days is a long time. Though.
Yeah, that's his thing, and whatever makes you happy, man. If that makes you happy, go for it. But he's been probably the one listener that I've actually, he has my number. He texts me a lot. But he's super sweet, and he's not, he's like, if I am ever annoying you, please let me know. I'm like, no, it's
that's
cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I've certainly had a couple of interactions, and unfortunately, people who know the show, a lot of guys have been dying lately. Awful.
Matt was. It just went public with Matt on Facebook, so yeah.
Yeah, Robbie just dropped that bomb on me.
That one's stunning. So
for sure. And I've had a couple of guys reach out to me that were terminally ill.
Callaghan Tim was one.
Callaghan Tim was certainly the latest when I met him. He came out to LA. He's a big Kings fan, and he basically one last trip to see the Kings in person.
Skeeter passed away.
Yeah, and Masshole Mickey as well. The car
that
accident.
One hurt too, because
he had messaged me, right after I got let go, and was very nice and had some very encouraging words. And then yeah, it's been, I got into this for selfish reasons. I wanted to have a job that was fun, and I love sports, and so that's why I was in it. So my wife, it kind of indirectly met me through the radio. So there's that, but she would always tell me, you guys don't understand how important you guys are to people, and I never really thought about it too much until, those kinds of interactions where, and then, I've gotten a ton of emails from people. So nice. I've been listening for blank years. You guys get me through the night. I hate my job, but listening to you guys makes it go by faster. And just, being a part of people's lives and stuff like that, that wasn't why I got into it, but it was pretty cool to know that you could really be a part of people's lives like that. And the same thing with the podcast. I've been doing it for 18 years, once a week for 18 years. And we've got people that have listened for 18 years. And I've had people tell me, I know you better than I know my friends, because we had a segment on the show where we talk about like what's been going on in our lives for the past week, me and my friend Doug, who I went to college with. So
you were one of the really, really early podcasts. You were right on top of it.
It's true. We definitely got in on it before it became a thing. Before legitimate people were doing it. You know what I mean? Now everybody obviously can do it, but no, it's been great. I've enjoyed it. It's been great connecting with people. But yeah, I mean, the connections that I've had with a few people have been pretty amazing. So yeah, it's been great. I'm rambling a bit, but going back to the ugly sweater party and the guy that I had talked to, and he was just so angry and upset. And I get that. I'm not trying to say he shouldn't feel that way, but I had just a couple of weeks before I got let go, I had celebrated my 23rd anniversary. And I remember when that day happened, thinking back like, my God, 23 years of doing this job. It's crazy. I can't believe I ever had this job for this long. And I was very grateful. And I was like, you had this job way longer than you probably should have had it. You know what I mean? So even though it was sad and I'm disappointed that it came to an end, I'm not like, I just can't be bitter about it. It was a great job and I had a great time, and it was a lot of amazing things.
So another question I have.
So I just want to interrupt with a couple of chats real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Molly Bar, but what's your goal? Today, let's go with $5,500 if we could hit that goal.
That'd be nice.
Before Eddie has to leave. I don't know if you're going to be offended by this one, Eddie, but I'm going to bring it up. Little Lemmy says, this guy looks like a smarter, skinnier Bubba the Love Sponge.
Okay. I do know who that is. I don't know what they look like. But I'm glad I'm smarter than that person. If that,
and skinnier.
Oh wow. Okay. I don't think I'm skinny, but I'm skinnier than that person. Okay. I've heard of them. Are they still doing their thing? Are they still
Yeah, Bubba does his own show on the internet now. I think I don't think it. Yeah, I was about to bring that up, Robbie. So we got Gunslinger Buzz, QB recruiting and transfer portal. Eddie, haven't heard from you since Outkick. Did you enjoy working with Clay Travis?
That was one of the questions I was going to ask. So
I did, and as a matter of fact, I probably should reach out to Clay.
I think I would.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely would.
Yeah. I did enjoy working with him. I thought he was a super nice guy. I didn't always agree with his takes, but I enjoyed his convictions and his courage to go out there and say what he felt and be honest about it. He was incredibly generous. He gave me a nice out of his own pocket Christmas bonus.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
Was that the one where Ben was like, "I didn't get a Christmas bonus" or something?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
You and Danny G and whoever else.
Yeah, and the company never did that for us. We got like a fleece, blanket or something. So,
you got fleeced.
Yeah. So no, I enjoyed working with Clay. I would definitely, like I said, I should reach out to him, and I probably will. Just why not? But I did enjoy working with him, and I thought he did a good job. And obviously, I'm not a Trump guy at all, to be honest about that. But Trump came on his show for the first time. I think I'm sure he's had him on since then several times.
I've lost count since that first time, but the first time was
big for being on Fox.
I mean, I don't, even if you, and I'll even be honest, I despise Donald Trump. And I'm not one of those, I'm not like a wacko liberal person at all. But
he did tank the USFL, right?
Yes, that. I actually hate him because of that. It's like I'm the only one who hates him because of a football league.
Well, there was a whole book about it that is still on my read. It's still around here somewhere.
I've got it actually behind me over here. My little.
Did you ever read it by chance?
Yeah. It's good. You should check it out.
He just leaves it there as a decoration, Robbie. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Just to follow up from little Emmy real quick. She says, "I love Bubba." Just saying, LOL. So she loves Bubba. She thinks you're smarter and skinnier, which means she loves you even more than Bubba.
Wow, I'm very appreciative of that. But getting the president of the United States on your radio show, I don't care who he is. That's awesome. And I mean, Danny G, the producer, was literally terrified.
Yeah,
we had phone issues. Not that we would often have phone issues, and he was literally terrified that something would go wrong and they weren't going to be able to get this interview through. And he was I just remember the relief on his face when it was over. He was just like, "Oh, thank God." That it worked out and it went well. So
I mean, it was a big deal for Clay, because I remember Clay was already on the upward trajectory, but since that phone call with Trump, it seems like they've become actual legit friends. He comes on a bunch. He's like, now he's everywhere. Like, you turn on TV, depending on what your political persuasion is, you turn on TV, he's always on it. Like, he's
still on the radio.
Everyone from Sean Hannity to Piers Morgan, he's doing bits for. So yeah, it's crazy.
He's still on the radio 3 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean,
true.
I like I said, if Donald Trump wanted to come on the Puck podcast, Donald Trump would be on the Puck podcast. Like I said, I can't stand the guy, but that's still the president of the United States on your show. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Engagement farming.
So I just want to make a joke at Robbie's expense. I thought Lemmy was talking about Robbie. Robbie's not skinnier than anyone. And Lemmy says Robbie looks like a fatter Seth. I assume Rogan. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So the off-air conversations always kind of cracked me up, like the one where, no offense, but the guy that got overworked left and then shot the window, stuff like that. Is there any off-the-air like situation that you haven't talked about before that instantly comes to mind that you can talk about? Or
I don't know. I mean, there's two infamous incidences that happened at Fox Sports Radio. One of them still blows my mind. They hired this guy to do overnights early on when I was there, and I wasn't working at the time, but I remember they put out a big press release, and we were all in the email, the work email, and it's like, Fox Sports Radio is so proud to announce that Robbie the Mariner fan is our new overnight guy. He's worked here, there, and everywhere, and blah 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 blah. Then the next day, Robbie the Mariner fan is no longer a part of Fox Sports Radio. We'll have no comment on this. And I'm like, what happened? One day? What did he do? He got fired his first day on the job was his last day on the job. And I was like blown away. And then I found out what he did, and I was even more blown away where he exposed himself to a coworker on his first day on the job.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? Like, think about the first time you had a job and how nervous you were and you want to make a good impression.
That's not where I'm going.
Like,
I give it a good week.
Even doing it a week later would have been bad enough. But the first night,
I know, that's insane.
That's incredible. I mean, he clearly must have been on something. Like, I just can't even. And I'm not going to say his name but I've Googled him many times since then, and there's nothing. So apparently that was his last day in radio. Wow. That was insane. The other thing was there was a guy who was co-hosting a show, and we had a producer, and they didn't get along. And this co-host, his sister was someone who was famous, and she was married to a professional athlete. And they had a highly publicized thing going on where, they were fighting and it was going to be a breakup. I mean, it was in the tabloids. Mm-hmm. So this guy told our producer, I don't want to talk about this. I know it's news, but this is my family and I don't want to talk about this. And then on the air, the producer brings it up. And you could hear in the guy's voice how pissed off he was. And he basically told him, I told you off the air. They had their off-air conversation on the air. It was very tense, and everyone was like, you could just feel like this is like, oh, okay, this isn't a bit, this is real. So then they go to break, and the co-host comes out of the studio into the studio where the producer is, and I'm watching this behind the glass. Robbie, behind that glass there, and you can't hear, you just see.
No.
And obviously they're angry, and there's finger pointing, and next thing you know, the co-host punches the producer right in the face. And then they, Jake Warner was the board op at the time. If you guys remember, Stay Awake with Jake. Yep. And he and the other co-host are breaking him up, and they get him in the separated. And then meanwhile, I'm like doing an update, and then the other co-host comes into the update studio after like the next break, and he's like, "Hey man, I know you saw that, but would you please keep this to yourself and not
here's your NDA right now.
Would you please not tell anyone, you saw what you saw." And I was like, absolutely. Nope. It's between you guys. I'm not a big gossip guy. Don't worry about it. Well, anyway, I don't know how it got out, but it got out. It was not from me. The co-host ended up getting fired for punching the producer. He's now a pretty significant TV personality here in Los Angeles. And does a great job. He's a super nice guy. I've always gotten along well with him. So he went. I'm like, I often joke I should punch someone so I could get a TV job. But he got let go from Fox Sports Radio, and he immediately went to TV and became a moderate success here in Los Angeles. So those were the two big crazy stories from working at Fox Sports. There were some other ones too. There were a few other ones, but those are the two big ones.
Josh, did you have anything you wanted to go dirty with?
Robbie's hogged all the time, so I know there's not much here. So I'm just going to say, I do appreciate the serious Sean, and I know your relationship with him. My favorite part of Sean calling the show is the hey, hi, woohoo, everybody, and then
hi, Eddie.
Well, the best part is he calls the show to talk to Eddie, not to Ben.
Yes.
And so I love that. But
yes. So and Ben is. You guys probably know, like, everything on the show was pretty legit, but we would kind of turn it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Sure. Mm-hmm. So I think Ben was legitimately perturbed by that, but he played it up a little bit more.
He rolled with it.
Yeah. But there was a little bit of perturbed in that. And Sean would call in just to talk to me, basically.
Well, because for a long time, at least you would say Ben first, and then slowly over time shifted to just Eddie.
Yeah.
Like it's the Eddie Garcia show when I call in,
Yeah. Which was great. It's always fun to get Ben riled up a little bit.
If I had a question for you, Eddie, for me, my favorite time of the show, I mean, I still listen, but my favorite time was probably at the end of Big Brother Jake and Danny G rolling in. I mean, those were just the days that, to me, the show was just really funny. You could get away with things. It was loose, and I don't know. Did you have a favorite period of time through the show, or did it just all kind of mash and blend together? Like even when it transferred to Roberto, the bus driver, whatever. But I mean, Danny G to me was the golden time.
That's a great question. I hadn't really thought about it. I don't know. I think they all had their pluses and minuses. They all had their good and bad, I guess. Not bad really, but you know what I'm saying? Like everybody brought their own different kind of thing to the table. Even Lorena lately, you know, I think her not knowing about sports, there was a certain
that's gotten entertaining actually. Yeah,
there was
it probably helps her.
There was a certain quality about that was funny. You know, we could kind of goof on her and, you know, ask her sports questions and her coming up with some ridiculous. And it was funny because Coop would try and feed her answers and she wouldn't, and she'd like say half of it or whatever, and it would make
because they sit just far enough apart that if you're not in their ear, you would only get half of what.
Right. So I would say probably if I had to pick like what was my favorite, I would probably say Roberto. Roberto was, I mean, he was always laughing. He was always smiling.
Yeah.
He'd go into the bathroom and start singing. I'd hear him like singing really loudly, you know, in the bathroom. I don't know what he loved singing in the bathroom. He's funny, and the off-air conversations with Roberto were
I can imagine.
Unbelievably,
I can imagine. Just I've DM'd him occasionally, and like he's a funny guy to talk to.
Yeah, he's and he was out of control when he was with the show After Ours, actually, with the Two Pros and a Cup of Joe. With those guys, he'd be texting him like all these pictures and crazy stuff, and he would always put on the TV monitors like the local weather or the local news because the weather and the traffic girls are always super hot, and you know, like LeVar and Jonas are like pointing while they're talking about some football thing. They're like pointing at the TV screen, you know. And Roberto's like, look, or Roberto would put on like porn or some show like Basic. It's a movie like Basic Instinct, you know. And they're like,
when I was with Ben the second time they brought me in the studio, because the first time was great. The second time I got distracted at one point while Jed was talking because they had one of those like A24 produced like indie movies where sometimes the sex scenes are quite graphic, and I'm like, what is on the TV right there while Jed's going? And then there was a pause and Ben's like, what do you think of that? And I just was like, oh crap, well no one can understand Jed anyway, so I'll just say, Jed, I have no idea what you were saying, because like that was one of those things I didn't let anyone in. I was like, I was too distracted by what was playing on his 50-inch TV to listen to what anyone else was talking about for a good minute and a half.
Question from Little Emmy. Do you know who Rube Waddell is?
Waddell.
I do not know who that is.
The pitcher.
He's a pitcher. He was an autistic pitcher that this is way back in the day. I forget the time period, but we're talking, you know, the early 1900s. He was an ace pitcher. He was a killer on the mound. But like, if a fire truck drove past, he would just run off the field and chase the fire truck.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. So that's a good question in terms of where did you get all your like random baseball knowledge? Because when Sports Jeopardy came on, you were like if you knew how to play the game, you'd just wait to the 1,000 point question, then ask Eddie as a lifeline. Where did you get all that trivia knowledge over the years?
Honestly, probably baseball cards and sports cards. I was a huge sports card collectible person when I was younger, and I got to know all those players. Like, I was thinking about it recently, and I know I don't really watch baseball as much as I did when I was younger, but I used to know all of them. Like, I know the bullpen guys. I know who the coaches were. Like, I used to know. Now I don't know any of these guys. Like, for the most part, I mean, I know the stars, but like. I think it was baseball cards. I think that's how I got to know. I don't even know I mean, I guess they still make them, but do kids? I can't imagine kids collect those anymore.
Too.
Huh?
It's a weird dynamic where they're super expensive now. Like I collect baseball cards now. Ever since the pandemic, I was looking for a hobby, so I've gotten into it.
Okay.
But they've kind of priced out the average kid, which sucks. No. So there's not this like pipeline of kids.
I remember I used to. Sometimes my mom would give me money to get lunch at school, and I'd go buy baseball cards.
Yeah,
wouldn't even spend them on that.
Goat Man is here. This is the greatest episode ever. We love.
Aw, thank you, Goat Man. Miss you
The
guys.
Go Man. The thing that like tapers that compliment is Go Man's an idiot. So you know.
He's in text chats with us, so yeah, I can confirm that.
Yeah. No, Eddie, I wanted to, as we're about to wrap up for you, I know you've got a heart out very soon, but I wanted to ask you about sort of maybe a couple of your favorite callers that just when you heard that name go, you just knew like this will be good.
Well, I love Marcel. I know some people don't, but just obviously, I've always thought Marcel's actually not bad. I mean, like when he would throw it to me, like when when he actually did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And I always kind of thought, and I don't know, hope this isn't offensive, but if he was born a different way, a little bit different, he'd be like a news anchor somewhere. You know what I mean?
I've said that to people I've said like he's got the news gene. Like
he's not untalented. He actually has some talent, but of course, he isn't.
Yeah.
And he, some of the things he's going to say, you never know what he's going to say, but there's like a sweetness to him. And some people, every once in a while I'd get a message that would be upset that we were making fun of him. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. I feel like we're including him. And I think those people need to be included. You know what I mean? I understand you might think we're laughing at him, but we laugh at everybody. We laugh at, there's no callers we don't goof on and laugh at. We're making him a part of that. And I always thought having him be included in that was important and the right thing to do. So
he had the greatest breaking story ever with the
He
Titanic.
did.
Come on now.
I mean,
top 5 for as long as Ben's show goes, that'll be a top 5 like listening live moment for me.
Agreed.
I'm pretty sure I had an apartment at the time, and I'm pretty sure I woke up the upstairs because it's it was like an old 200-year-old house.
Who didn't laugh out loud?
No, I dropped my phone. I was laughing so hysterically. I woke up the people above me. That was awkward, but no, that was a great moment.
100%. 100%.
I just think the laughing and your body getting shaking just shook the whole building. That's probably why.
Yeah, that's probably it too.
For those of you that don't know, Marcel once someone gave him some information. He called into the Ben Maller with breaking news that the Titanic had just sunk.
Hit an iceberg.
And to be fair to Marcel, he was the first person in radio history to announce that.
That's right. That's right.
So, that's great. So we've had Marcel on, I think, 3 times.
Oh,
Twice
wow.
on Meltdown, and I think once on here. It's been a fucking disaster every single time.
Ben went on his YouTube show, and if you haven't seen that, you need to check that out. It was, as you said, a fucking disaster as well. And Ben stuck around for about 3 minutes, and he's like, "Okay, Marcel, thanks, man. It's great having me on your show. Take care." And then he just hit eject, and he's like, "I can't take this anymore." I showed up.
Did he try to do like a prayer with Ben or something?
It was like the audio quality was horrible. There was this awful feedback, and he just acted like it was perfectly fine. He just kept talking, and Ben's like, finally, like, "Okay, I'm out of here." I showed up. I said hello. I did my thing, and I'm gone. So that was very funny though.
The first time I had him, he had shitty internet, and like he kept breaking up and that. And I said to him, "Marcel, is there any chance like you can walk to another spot, see if you can get better Wi-Fi?" And he just went, "No." Okay, let's just continue. And then we had the feedback issue with him as well. And I was like, "Marcel, do you have headphones?" And he went and grabbed some headphones and put them on. And I was like, "You need to plug them in."
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So but I think he's a sweetheart, and
he is.
And he's been a lot of fun.
I wonder if he even knows I'm not on the show anymore, because he doesn't listen to the show.
Does.
He does.
He'll correct himself. He'll be like, Lorena and Eddie. I mean, Lorena. Yeah. So it's I don't know who told him. I think someone had to tell him though.
Yeah.
Probably Coop.
Well, Eddie, I know you got to go, and I appreciate you giving us your time.
Yes,
and,
thank you, Eddie.
And having a chat with us. Let some people know where to find you with the Puck Podcast and everything you got going.
Yeah, if you're a hockey fan, even if you're not, and you want to help me out, you can go to on YouTube. You can go to Puck Podcast TV, hit subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can monetize the show, and we're on obviously Apple Podcasts, Spotify, for anybody that wants to listen to a hour-long talk about hockey, Puck Podcast. And then if you're an LA Kings fan, You've got Locked On LA Kings as well on YouTube and on anywhere you find your podcast. So thank you guys for letting me promote that.
No, I hope it all goes well for you, man.
Thank you.
And yeah, again, I highly recommend doing some live stuff, and even if it's just every now and then, I think it'd be great. Look, yeah, we've all been big fans of you for a long time.
Still
commiserations for for no longer being with Fox Sports Radio, but we appreciate you spending some time with us, and good luck with it all.
Good to talk to you guys.
Merry Christmas, Eddie.
Same to you guys, and check in every now and then.
For sure.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie.
Right, thanks,
see you again. Okay, take care.
Catch up.
That was great.
All right, thank you, Eddie. Yeah, it was good. A little bit of a trip down memory lane for us. Some of our newer listeners probably were not necessarily aware of what was going on there, but
it's a Saturday show anyway, so it's kind of
it's a different time and all that. I'm going to end with Gino. So right now we're going to go to this.
I'm not doing it again.
No, you didn't do it properly.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm a little piggy. Here's my snout. Oink, oink, oink.
That might be the new. That might be the new Robbie's Rage intro.
If that's the new Robbie's Rage, I quit.
We're not done. I'm actually going to edit that down, and I'm going to combine it with this.
The fuck? Cunt. Fuck you.
You might want to edit out the part where I say the C word, considering we're on YouTube too.
What's wrong with that?
You're allowed to say cunt. Like we're not monetized for advertising. We're just monetized for super chats and memberships. We can't put ads on this. So yeah, if we were putting ads on it, I'd probably have to censor out some shit like that. But I don't really give a fuck. Like we're just
cunt.
Like the key thing, honestly, about doing a show is it is the memberships, and you want people to be members and retain memberships. That's how people can support your show. Yeah, they can super chat, and that's fucking great as well. But in theory, you do a show that people want to subscribe to and be members.
I didn't want to be the one to point it out, but I'm glad somebody did.
Look, a lot of people have been giving me shit about my lighting. I was on this little, thank you, Lemmy. Sorry, I'll read the comment for those that aren't watching. Dean, are you sitting on the literal surface of the sun? Look, at the moment, it is summer in Australia.
It is Australia. That's what I was going to say.
It does feel that way in Perth sometimes. But no, I was on this little piggy and I was chatting with the great Moody, and he's given me some tips of some things to grab that will make to make this look a bit better, lit a lot better, and all that. This is a fucking low budget situation, folks. All right, I'm working on it. Goat man, don't even fucking worry about who's Dean. All right,
no doxing today.
I don't even think he's joking with that comment either.
No, he's probably not aware of Aaron Imholt saying my name
1,000 times.
1,000 times while yelling at me and insulting me. Little Emmy says, don't listen to Moody. Every episode, he looks like he's sweating to death. That's a good point. But Moody is a smart dude. And he's going to be on the show soon. So that's going to be exciting. Now, Robbie, we're bringing back Robbie's Rage. And I don't know, have we really done a Robbie's Rage on the live United States of Australia?
No.
Maybe we did a few back in the day in the early stages.
I don't think maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the first one?
I'm going to throw it to you. I'm going to take a little pee break because I know you got a little monologue to go on.
Nice.
So you hit your monologue.
Okay, so today's Robbie's Rage, talking about the manosphere, as they call it on the news. I am so sick and tired of people saying, like, oh, Trump won because he managed to go on a couple podcasts like Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan. Maybe I'm naive, but I still believe that people like on the right, the Joe Rogans and the Theo Vaughns, or on the left, the Taylor Swifts or the Beyoncés, just because they endorse somebody, I don't think enough people vote for them just based on a celebrity endorsement to really sway an election. I don't think that he won Pennsylvania and states, the blue wall states, just because his son picked out a couple podcasts. Granted, they're like monolithic podcasts when it comes to Joe Rogan, but I feel like it was more the fact that, I don't know, a lot of people in Joe Biden's orbit kind of acted like being a blue collar white guy is like some sort of original sin at this point. Maybe that kind of bounced people off Biden the second time around that maybe voted for him the first time, or maybe weren't motivated and didn't vote in 2020 and were like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump, even though he's kind of a piece of shit. And, the whole January 6th thing. I think that had more to do with it than anything about just them going on a couple podcasts and being somewhat relatable. Like, if you've seen Trump, for a billionaire that's kind of an egotistical maniac, he does have his relatable moments, like the fact his favorite meal on earth is a McDonald's overcooked cheeseburger, stuff like that. So maybe you can let me know if I'm crazy about this, but I'm sick of, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala, this is going to swing the election, even though Kamala didn't lose the white young vote, but she lost, what's the word? Her majority vote, and that came down by about 20 points compared to Biden in 2020. So I don't think it was celebrity endorsements one way or the other that won or lost Joe Biden and Donald Trump the election. That's all I got for today.
If you need somebody to tell you how to vote, you shouldn't be fucking voting.
There's that as well.
Straight up.
Yeah, I've never had any celebrity that would sway me in like my own thought.
But it's
process.
crazy the amount, even to this point, I'm a weirdo. I still subscribe to news services like the Wall Street Journal and the National Review, and you can't go like 3 days without some think piece still in one of them about the manosphere. And it's like, I really don't think it had that big a deal to do with why Trump won.
Yeah.
Could have been immigration and then, man.
Robbie's mukbangs needs to be a segment.
What the mukbang?
And then Little Lemmy follows up with, I'll help you out with Little Lemmy. I'd for sure watch Robbie eat.
Oh boy, that's what a mukbang is? Jesus Christ.
That's what a mukbang. But like a mukbang is, you're eating and you get right into the mic and you.
Goatman's been texting me, hey, what you need to do is just do stupid stuff for super chats, and I'm like, I don't want to reduce myself to being a court jester 24/7. Like, what the hell?
You don't need to light your chest on fire. You don't need to any of that shit. Drink your own piss, whatever. No.
Little
I want to
Lemmy,
see myself eat a big platter of Texas barbecue too, to be honest.
Yeah, live on stream though. Little Lemmy, what?
Oh yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah. Ew. Chat is not moving. Yeah, I know, isn't that crazy? I mean, it's moved a little bit. Taylor Swift sucks. Agreed.
I second that.
Shit show. I love Tay-Tay and Lemmy. Well, how about that? This is just getting.
Is that Taylor Swift?
Yeah. The all caps. The all caps emphasizes a fetish.
Well, you could say I'm in love with the Mariners, so I guess.
Wait, what's it? Oh no, that wasn't the one. I love shit show, but I cannot stand TS. What's TS?
Taylor Swift.
Oh, of course.
Or Team Spirit if you're a Counter-Strike fan, but fuck them too.
A real mukbang is
supposed to be gross.
Is just a digital dinner hang session. It's not supposed to be all gross and weird. Oh, okay. Well, we could do that. We could organize.
Yeah, we could.
Like yeah,
I might get judged for how big my portions are, though. So there's that.
The dabbler just ended, so our numbers jumped a fraction. 5 people left immediately, which is sad. But let's close out the show.
Has no loyalty to those two pieces of shit. Like, there's no loyalty among all the fake people. Everyone in the chat, they're all fucking losers that fucking live vicariously through this shit. They have no fucking lives. Shut the fuck up with your opinion. It's a friend I'm telling you, shut the fuck up and talk about things you know about, but don't lower yourself to the level of this bunch of fair. No, you're not allowed to say to me, let's say you were stolen materialistic piece of shit.
I love it.
Man, I fucking am humming that thing occasionally on the job. You know I got no money.
It's amazing how often I'm walking around the house going, Gino is flat broke. So Gino lost his YouTube channel this week, and I'm sad for Gino, and I genuinely don't want that to happen to anyone. But he's an idiot. He's done it to himself over and over again, and yeah, so he is a complete idiot. But I'm not playing that clip and making fun of him losing his YouTube channel. And when the reality hit him, and he went, "Baby, I lost my YouTube channel." It's quite amusing. But no, Geno was talking about the dabble verse, and yeah, I just thought this is some classic Geno delusion mixed with Geno distraction and all that. So this is a My Lost Interest joint, I believe. So thank you, My Lost Interest.
Literally is so remarkably unfunny that he doesn't want people to go see his set. He doesn't. Because they'll see how unfunny he is. Ray's the kind of guy that's like, well, I'll just do stand-up. Like, if you saw him, and I'm sure, I'm hoping many of you did not, because you're my fans, you're not dabble versers.
First of all, he's changed his angle. He's not got the TV behind him, which is interesting. Now, I don't know. Can someone in the chat let me know? Does Gino have a stand-up special out? At any point, has Gino recorded any of his stand-up? I legitimately don't know. I'm not aware, but he seems like the kind of guy that doesn't want anyone to see his stand-up either, because they might find out he's not funny at all.
You saw him.
Oh, by the way, I love that he leaves this comment up too. How long is it? But you really stink.
Driving that point home.
Yeah.
In that fucking show with Kevin last night, our buddy Joey Dago was watching. He said it was fucking painful. He said it was absolutely fucking painful.
I love when people go on a stream and go, I'm going to talk about something I didn't watch, but someone told me it was shit. So I'm going to just say it was shit because that's what they told me.
That's another moment. Boozy boxing, like Brian McCarthy is so, this gets back to the Kevin Brennan thing. Brian McCarthy is so fucking unfunny. But Kevin Brennan would fucking have him on to sit to his left. He would say all the time, because he's half blind, he'll do creepy things, and I won't have to fucking worry about it. It was hilarious. When he would have him on and he'd think he was funny. And then he got mad at me because I would go on and be like, you're not funny.
Wait. So I'm confused. This Brian McCarthy fellow who used to be a Kevin Brennan co-host, he's completely unfunny. But Geno's saying it's hilarious that he's completely unfunny. So doesn't that make it funny? I'm confused. Yeah, I'm confused what your point is, Geno. Can you be a little bit more succinct?
And I would just stare him down like, you're not funny. And he would get so fucking livid that we would get fun shit like this. Here we go. Who can forget this fucking gold? I have no problem with Brian.
He hates you. You're the only guy I know that he's ever said bad things about.
Why would he say bad things?
Because you're obnoxious and you're a drunk, obnoxious motherfucker. And
so that's Kevin Brennan. You can hear it. I think he's nailed it perfectly. He hates you because you're an obnoxious, drunk motherfucker.
When you do your own show, it's fine because
all you have
is Aaron Berg.
Well, let me tell you, Gino, I can answer the question. The first time that you were here, I didn't even know, because I don't watch the other shows. You were just on the couch and you're literally
blind. You don't watch anything.
Again, you're talking over. It's exhausting.
Now, do you understand? Like, I'm sorry that I've always done comedy, that I've always done fucking my show where, like, if I say something like this, I'm a firm believer. When I do a show, you let the funny person talk, okay? And sometimes they're like, Gino interrupts people. They only notice when I interrupt because I'm trying to steer them towards the funny. It's amazing how fucking Garrett never said you interrupted me. Steve never said you interrupted me. I never said.
Well, all right. So here we are in the delusional factor of Gino. Gino only interrupts people when they're not being funny, and he's steering towards the funny. But then he names two producers that never said he interrupted it. Well, they're producers. Like they're not on-air talent, Gino. Little Emmy. Thank you for the $5, Lemmy. Good show today. Thank you. See, Aaron? Just do a good show. Well, thank you. Thank you, Lemmy. You're very, very sweet. Rover says, if that were the case, Gino would never be allowed to speak. Yeah, and he never shuts the fuck up. That's what's amazing about it. Did I click that? Gino is the embodiment of, sir, this is a Wendy's. Yeah. Good call.
Garrett and Steve interrupted me. Same thing with Aaron, really. Nice fucking sack. Derwin James. One for Khalil, one for Derwin, one for Bosa.
So you keep it up here, fellas. Gino's watching the football at the same time. So we can't keep on track. He's got to point out that there was a sack on screen. But Gino's really proud of that joke he just did. I think he's possibly gonna replay
because
it.
insecure, unfunny people want to tell you you're not funny rather than realize they're not funny and they need to work more at it. See, Ray DeVito, watch this again.
You're obnoxious and you're a drunk, obnoxious mother.
Did I?
That is funny. That is funny. So yeah, Gino didn't interrupt that. That's true.
I interrupt Kevin while this is going on. I'm like, nope, let's do the premise. Here we go.
Fucker. And when you do your own show, it's fine because you
didn't interrupt him.
Yeah, all you have is Aaron Berg.
And then you just interrupted him, Gino. You just got it through, blew your whole point to pieces. You literally interrupted Kevin.
Well, let me tell you, Gino, I can answer the question. The first time that you were here, I didn't even know, because I don't watch the other shows. You were just on the couch and you're literally
blind. You don't watch anything.
Again, you're talking.
Look how proud he is of that. He's proud that he told a blind guy that you don't watch anything because he misspoke. He's so proud of that. He thinks that's comedy gold. Gino thinks this is comedy gold. Were you going to say something, Robbie? You leaned forward.
No.
You look like you've been very disinterested.
The goal was his telling us about the Chargers sack because obviously he can't show a sack on TV.
Ah, well, he did show a sack. I think that's why he lost.
That's why he lost it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, that was your joke. Yeah,
you see where I was going.
My bad.
Over, it's exhausting.
See, it's like it's not even funny. Just think.
And so they're both talking over. Nope, I just said you're blind. You don't watch any shows, and this is why.
So he's got to reiterate it. He still thinks this is comedy gold. Gino, it's the most basic line possible. Blind Mike says I watch this all the time. Like it's just vernacular. It's things you say.
Right. It's how they talk.
Yeah. Like you're an idiot. And look at that face. Look at this moron. This absolute moron.
These guys stink because they're fucking insecure fucking zeros that don't want to make people laugh. They want to make sure you think they're funny. And there's how do you let him throw that? Yeah.
Wait. Let's take that back again. The man that just repeated his joke 3 times.
Insecure fucking zeros that don't want to make people laugh. They want to make sure you think they're funny. And there's how do you let him throw that? Yes. What are you throwing? A hold? You got to throw a fucking hold. But that's what unfunny people do. Like all I've ever been in hot water at its peak. And this is why the Dabbleverse doesn't like me. Because I want everyone to have a good time. They're like, nope, it's all about fucking tearing people down. Because everyone in it is an insecure fucking zero. Watch this. You don't.
He's multitasking right here. I don't think we should be watching the game and doing the show.
Gino, do not ever try and watch something while doing a podcast. It's bad enough if something just you look down and see something on your desk and you got to play with it. Like, don't watch a football game. But this dude really believes the Dabbleverse gives a shit about him. It's fascinating. Mike's shitty internet provider, $5. Thank you very much. Daylar put a gun to my head and forced me to send $5 help. Well, thank you, Daylar. We appreciate the guerrilla marketing. And NJ Ranger 201, $1.99. Could you imagine being an unfunny, insecure zero? I live it every day. Live it every single day, NJ Ranger. Just ask Aaron Imhoff. But so he actually thinks the Dabbleverse gives a shit about it. Nobody in the Dabbleverse gives a shit other than when you turn up on a show and talk over everyone and ruin it. And don't add anything. You just want to talk about what Gino wants to talk about. That's what the Dabbleverse is annoyed by. But he thinks the Dabbleverse is Ray DeVito and Brian McCarthy. Like, nobody really gives a shit about them either.
I think if you were to say, hold on. Fucking holding. Let me ask you something. When you think of
wasn't he just screaming you have to throw a holding flag?
I was like, what is going on?
Well, mint diggity. I couldn't imagine the Dabbleverse without Gino. I assume that's a sarcastic comment with all the laughing emojis.
People that are confident. When you think of people, actually, I'll just go the other way. Yeah, that's a good call. I'll allow it. When you think of insecure people, Ray DeVito, Chad Zumach, these are incredibly insecure people, okay? These are incredibly insecure. Melton Melton, an overweight, fucking meaty, titted hunchback. These are all insecure fucking people.
I honestly, I know everyone knows I'm a fan of Melton, but he doesn't really strike me as insecure personally. But Gino's whole thing was that he's fat. That's so. I guess, yeah, Robbie, you're insecure because you're morbidly obese, right?
I'm insecure. I wouldn't say it's about that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's your crippling depression and all that. Yeah.
These pauses you do on Gino are perfect, man. It's like that psycho shot right there.
No, but yeah, it's he just trying to remember the people that have talked shit about him, and it was Ray doesn't even really talk shit about him, Ray DeVito. It's more that Gino just hates Ray and thinks he's unfunny. But anyway, we'll continue.
Do you understand? Fucking Brian McCarthy is a sweaty, insecure zero.
Brian McCarthy has absolutely nothing to do with the Dabbleverse. Zero. He was Kevin Brennan's co-host years ago, well before the Dabbleverse existed, well before Kevin Brennan got involved in the Dabbleverse. This idiot is just ranting about people he knows and doesn't like, and is just calling them Dabbleverse.
Sorry that I don't need the approval or the redemption arc, Ed Gainiger, who I fucking adore. These are all insecure people. And I can't sit there and be like, how can you sit there and watch a show like Ray DeVito's pathetic? How do you watch Chad Zumach for any other reason than to laugh at him? Like, oh, he's doing the TM Zumach thing again. Like, who's watching this saying, this is really important stuff? There's so much.
Gino, who's watching this and thinking this is really important stuff? I am. It's really important stuff to my show, so we can point out how much of a fucking idiot you are. But yeah, go, Josh.
No, I'm just laughing at the guy that's sitting next to him there in that screenshot right there. It's like he's got his hands up saying, "Mustache rides, anybody?" Who is that?
He was great on Red Eye.
Yeah. You've mentioned that a couple. Yeah, because he was on a clip a couple of weeks ago with Gino.
Yeah, my favorite show of all time.
Yes, nice tackle. All it is it's a waste. It's mental fucking masturbation.
Yes.
My God, but Chuck Punk did not say that at all. Only Gino is funny. Everyone else is insecure. Thank you, Chuck, but I can't. I mean, I think I say
that's how it comes across, Gino, right now. People that don't think you're funny are insecure and unfunny, but you think telling a blind man you didn't watch anything is fucking the height of comedy.
All the time. Not only do I say Kevin Brennan is funny, I go so far as to say, and I'll say it for the 900th time, I've never said Kevin Brennan isn't funny. Kevin Brennan is hilarious. Chad's not funny. We've seen him on stage. Ray is a fucking hack. Melton opened for me, and he was very unmemorable. Bob Levy is a comedic genius. What else do you want, buddy? What else do you want? Get in there. That should have been holding.
Again.
So, yeah, thank you for basically just ranting about comedians that you don't like that pretty much, for the most part, have nothing to do with the Dabbleverse, Geno. You're a moron. And stop talking about In Hot Water 5 years ago with, and I've forgotten the guy's name. Who was his old? Aaron Berg. Aaron Berg. I've heard great things about Aaron Berg, and apparently that show was funny 5 years ago. It's not 5 years ago anymore, Gino. It's over. You need to come up with some new ideas. And speaking of new ideas, I got a new idea to wrap it up. So, just Josh, you want to let anyone know anything you want to let anyone know?
This weekend, you can find me at the Love Shack. It's a little love place where we can get together, or you can get me at the Montgomery Inn tonight. I'll be enjoying a king-size slab of ribs.
Wow. You gonna live stream it?
Nah, it's the company Christmas dinner, so
it's a shame.
No live stream.
What about you, Robbie?
I'll snap a picture for you.
That'll be good. Robbie, when are we gonna get this mukbang thing happening for you?
I don't know.
Come on, man.
I'm out of funny things.
Gomez says it's going to be getting close to the time Robbie is pulling back on a tail. I assume that, I don't know. I brought that up because at first, Yeah, I don't know. I brought that up because I assumed it meant you needing to take a shit immediately when the show ends.
No, I'm good.
Because you almost always do that.
Mm-hmm.
You're at a different time, so you've probably messed up his.
Yeah, you messed up my cycle.
Stay Humble says Melton is here. What's up, dog? I didn't say Melton.
I didn't either.
Nah. Is he lying to me? Speaking of which, thank you, Patrick Melton, for having me on This Little Piggy. Yes, I'm just scrolling back up the chat. See if he's there. I don't see nobody likes onions. No, but thank you, Patrick, for having me on This Little Piggy. It was a great fun being on that show yesterday. Oh, that's Robbie. Shit Show says that's Robbie. Robbie's Melton because Melton's a big fat fuck and Robbie's a big fat fuck. Robbie's definitely fatter. Definitely fatter. Yeah, we get it now. Stay humble. I get it. Robbie's way fatter, to be fair to Melton. Melton's got is about 6-7 inches taller than Robbie, and Robbie'd still outweigh him, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, Robbie, what's your plugs?
We got a new handle alert. Repeat, new handle alert. You can follow us. United States of Australia. It's at official USA Pod, which is slightly better than the last one. You're supposed to say, yeah, good job, Robbie.
Good job, Robbie.
Good job, Robbie.
Thank you, Josh. I can always come to you for support, at least. And you can find me at Mariner Robbie on Twitter. Or X, I mean.
Yeah, please follow Robbie on X. And every time there's an earthquake, be sure to tag Robbie in it and let him know that he was the cause. Make some sort of joke about him.
It's getting old.
No, I don't think that'll ever get old. Shit Show says Robbie is a sweet boy. He is. He's a sweet boy. We love him.
We love Robbie.
Yeah.
Don't go dying on me or anything, man.
Jesus, yeah. I know. Speaking of the show, Justin was telling me that Coop, the producer, is legitimately freaked out that there's like a Kennedy curse on the show now. That just maybe because of his weed-riddled brain, but still.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's been last 3 weeks like a top 20 P1 has died on the show. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I hadn't put 2 and 2 together, but sometimes people don't, hit the show every night or. So
yeah, no, I know.
It's not uncommon not to hear
Nassau Mickey 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago Skeeter, and then depending on what your date of reference is this week, Matt, wherever it is, man.
Yeah, let's keep talking about death. Raving Ninja, not bad. If he causes more earthquakes,
you know what they say? If it bleeds, it leads.
Things come in threes. That's what I hear.
Yeah, good point. When I start talking and reading the chat, yeah, just completely talk over me. That's good.
So
no, it works. If he causes more earthquakes, the show's going to have to move to Rumble. Not bad. My shitty internet provider. My money is on Robbie to whoop Melton's ass.
More pound in that punch.
Shit show. Robbie's family better know someone with a forklift and a chainsaw. Yeah, that's true.
When I dislocated my ankle many years
ago. Oh, wait, sorry, just quickly. Robbie is the reason double door entrances were invented.
When I catastrophically broke my ankle when I was like 20 years old, the paramedics. No, I slipped in a puddle of dog pee. My parents had to, when they called the ambulance, they had to drag me out down the stairs on a tarp. So there's that.
I remember this story.
I do too. It's always funny.
The dog pee.
That shit where you wish they had body cams for. That's video I need of Robbie being dragged down the stairs on a tarp.
It's not funny. It was extremely painful. I still have scars up my leg because of it.
What, from being dragged downstairs on a top?
No, because of how far up they had to resettle the bones.
Oh, you just mean from surgery? No.
Yeah.
Not the mental scar. Not the mental scar.
That part's not overly funny. Just the dragging you downstairs on a top.
I have mental scars from the entire situation, so there is that, as Josh said.
Shit show says it is. It's pretty funny, Robbie. So, oops. What did that one say?
Are the scars healed?
No, you can still see them.
You can get cream for that, can't you? Get rid of scars.
I mean, these are like surgery scars. They're like
true. Yeah.
This thick per scar.
Does Robbie have to replace transmissions regularly due to strain?
No.
YouTube.com/@EcclePineapple. Put a 3 where the last E should be. And Eccles is Luke spelled backwards. We do What's Your Handle before this show. Anytime we go, well, just about anytime we go live on this channel, I've been doing What's Your Handle before it. But yeah, obviously we usually do Sunday afternoons. This was a change up for Eddie Garcia. So go subscribe to Eccles' channel, hit like, hit subscribe.
Whoa.
Oh, Roven jumping in. Hey. Oh, Robbie, could you just, Jesus.
You
a
told
49
me to chat.
Yeah,
that blew him away right there.
You went, whoa, and I went to click on it. You clicked on it, and then I clicked on it. You clicked on it. I was like, Jesus Christ. Thank you very much, Rover. Rover is so fucking good to us. $49.99 super sticker. You're a legend, Rover. We appreciate it. Every single week you look after us, and you're a good egg. I love when, because StreamYard, it just brings up this. Text yellow, goal, finger red, number 1, text yellow, goal, finger red. So I assume that's a bunch of emojis or whatever. So thank you. Rover, put that thing away. Jeez. Yeah. No, thank you, Rover. You're always very, very good to us. YouTube.com/getmygo. Our segment, holy shit.
Holy shit.
Mike City. Fucking hell. Mike Shitty internet provider with a $50 super sticker.
I think we broke our highest goal.
You said 5,000. You said 5,000.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we're nowhere near 5,000. So
Jesus fucking with
you pick it up. But no, thank you, Mike.
Thank
that's
you, Mike.
Awesome. That's great. Rover always seems to surprise us at the very end as we're wrapping up, and then Mike fucking saw that and he's like, "Fuck you! I'll go 1 cent more." He went with Price is Right rules. Well, no, because that's closest without going over. Anyway, point being, we appreciate it, Mike. Good egg. Thank you very much. Back to Get My Go. Thanks for being great sports, says Mike. Rove says LOL. Robbie being a great sport, which he is.
If I wasn't, I'd be dead by now. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't go dying on us, Robbie. Don't do it.
This show is almost therapy for Robbie, I think. We try to treat him worse than anyone else can treat him, so then he can just handle real life. I'll try to get back to youtube.com/getmygo. Our Johnny podcasting segment from last week's show. Mike Durbin has made an episode of Get My Go. So if you haven't seen that already on our channel, or you just want to watch it again, we had some laughs with Husey and Eccles and obviously Josh. So yeah, youtube.com/getmygo. Go hit like, subscribe over there. We've also got a Christmas show with or do I announce it? Yeah, fuck it, I'll announce it. It's recorded. So the great ECW diva Francine, the Queen of Extreme, joined Chad, Husey, and Mike for a bit of a Get My Go special. So Mike will be working on that. Mike is meticulous with his editing, so that will be out sometime soon, but it's in the can and it is ready to go. Outside of that, yeah, check out This Little Piggy from yesterday. Thank you to Melton for giving me an opportunity on that show. Otherwise, on X, I am at that sussy guy. Just imagine that Aussie guy and put an S where the A should be. We'll catch you next time on United States of Australia.
Muck banging.